La Bolsa, let's do the headlines. Emile, what's your first headline for me?
So, I mean, my first one is, I don't know if I have a snappy headline for it, but I think it's about Martin Braithwaite and how isn't it funny how when some of the rumors die down for a minute and all the chatter isn't about how you're expendable and you're not good enough for your job and you need to be shipped out, like you can just go out and play a really good game. He was a good striker. Like he played fantastically yesterday. And, again, I realize we have all these small sample sizes and there's going to be temptations to kind of overreact and sort of get a little giddy about the things that go super well. But, he played yesterday with a lot of energy. He was in the right place, at the right time. And he was aggressive, but he was also, he was distributing the ball. He played an excellent game. I mean, he played, there was other crosses that he played in addition to the one that got the fourth goal that, there was a couple where just nobody was home, no one made the runs, but the ball was just kind of, right in that danger area. So, I mean, he looked very, very encouraging for my money.
The fluidity of that front three was something that I said I was excited for, and something that, looking at the heat maps, did come to fruition. And Martin Braithwaite was a part of that. We were reminded that he can play on the wing. He did well at the Euros for Denmark on the wing. And his heat map said that he wasn't even a traditional number 9, that he was on the left, on the right at times in buildup. And it is telling, though, that Martin Braithwaite started, because I think Ronald Koeman also reinforcing this idea is that by giving Ray Minaj a spot in the squad and a number 14 shirt, it does indicate to you that Sergio Aguero might never be healthy and might even be gone in January. That's one. Yeah. But two, that Ronald Koeman does want a number 9. He does want some kind of striker, some kind of poacher, some kind of player up there. Not even because Martin Braithwaite is, again, a guy that's going to hold the ball up, because I think Memphis and Griezmann actually hold the ball up better. And they actually are the ones who make runs off of those hold up play a bit better than Braithwaite even. But he wants to have someone up top, in theory, to be a number 9, to be a poacher, just to put the ball in the back of the net. Because all the chances that Barca, even without Messi, all the chances that Barcelona will create. And so we'll see if that changes when Fati comes back and kind of does muddy that a little bit with the top level talent. But I think that Barca are hedging their bets about Braithwaite. And we'll look, Fati, even, and we'll see what happens when he returns, because I think Barca might know more about his future or his next few weeks and months and season than we do health wise. So there might be something that, again, I don't want to get all gloom and doom on it, but
no, exactly. But but it makes sense. I mean, look, all we've seen kind of setbacks or, not a quick bounce back. And, it hasn't been a sort of a steady stream of sort of optimistic and encouraging news. Not that it's been necessarily discouraging, but, what we've heard is usually along the lines of, well, it's going to be a little bit more time, rather than, his comeback is right around the corner. So I think it's fair to kind of at least operate, kind of reasonably operate in the situation that you've been given.
Yeah, and I saw that people were saying that it's an unpopular opinion that Barcelona should continue to still be shopping Braithwaite, even though he had 2 goals. He becomes the first Danish player. Let me very much correct that. First Danish player to score 2+ goals in a Liga game since Michael Laudrup did it, unfortunately, for Real Madrid back in 1990. Yeah, there's not that many Danish players, so it's not that crazy of a stat. Yeah. Anyway, the point is Martin Braithwaite starts the year with a brace. I don't think anybody had that a few weeks ago. That start the season not always starting, but the unpopular opinion seems to be that Braithwaite should still be sold, and I completely agree with that. And I don't think that's unpopular. That, as I said earlier last week, that Neto, because he's a first-string goalkeeper who's going to have to be a backup again, and Braithwaite, because he's going to guarantee you between 8 and 13 goals, depending on the team and your reliance on him. And there was a third one who now I'm forgetting, but either way, those two in particular, at the top of the attack and in the goalkeeping position, they're two. Oh, Lenglet was a third one. Yeah. Because Lenglet is I think a starting center back at most clubs. Is the elite level of the Champions League starting? No, I don't think he is. I don't think he fits the system at Barcelona. We'll get to some of the center backs that do fit that system, but Lenglet would be the third one. That if I'm Barcelona, their financial, as we'll talk about at the end, their financial picture has not changed. They're still in trouble. And those are the 3 that I think are, not untouchable like Pedri. And we're not talking any player under 24. Those are the players who are in that window where I think they're worth something. And I would continue to field calls for Braithwaite, Neto, and Lenglet, especially after what we've seen in the, not necessarily Lenglet, but what we've seen from Neto and Braithwaite. They should be worth even more after the last 2-3 weeks because they've been really good. So you sell high. You have to sell high on those players. I don't think that's unpopular at all. And Barcelona just have to survive and just take that money.
No, the one thing that I think is that I'd be tempted to hang on to, I mean, barring a really good offer, barring a sizable offer, I'd be tempted to hold on to Braithwaite until the January window because I think it's like we were talking about with, we don't know where Ansu Fati is at exactly. And, kind of you and I were talking offline, like just kind of, it still seems not 100% sorted out where Antoine Griezmann sort of what exactly his role is and where he fits in and how much of that is actually going to be goal scoring and how much of it is based on his kind of his work rate and his distribution and hold up play. So I think Braithwaite might just almost out of necessity get a lot of opportunities to essentially be the number 9 and just sort of stuff in a bunch of goals. And that half season could do a lot to bolster his value. So, I mean, I think there might even be a slightly better sell high opportunity in January if he's coming off of a sort of a really torrid start to the season.
Right. I mean, I spoke about how deep that forward line is supposed to be, and it is. And now counting Ray Minaj, and I'd call for Yusuf Demir to start. And Martin Braithwaite is the first team player in that instance. Again, Yusuf Demir, even with Messi gone, you thought that his role might change a lot, but it still could be that the club is going to say, hey, you're still 18. We still don't want to push you into the first team before you're ready. We're going to leave you as Barça B. And I said the same thing about Balde and Gabi. I think they're still, when Barça B begins official play in 2 or 3 weeks, they'll still be mainstays in the B team. And then they'll earn their opportunities in potentially the spring for FC Barcelona, the first team. So if Demir's still on that path, again, keeping Braithwaite doesn't lose anything. And then with Ray Minaj, now it seems like for Barça B, he was never in the picture anyway. He was going to be sold. And now Barca is just holding on to him because they want players who are going to put the ball in the back of the net. You lose 38 goals from Lionel Messi in the Liga. Yes, Memphis is going to make up for, we'll say, hopefully a large portion of that. The Ansu Fati returning should make up for a portion of that. But, it's easy for me to get to those 38 goals if things go well and if players do what they're supposed to. I was saying that as I transitioned to my first headline about Gerard Pique. Last year, he had 2 goals. Usually he has around 4 to 5. And Pique to get that first goal, it's not so much about hitting that La Liga numbers goals scored quota, but for me, it's the fact that Gerard Pique, I don't often, because I look so much at stats and try to be analytical and try to just, not overblow any particular ththing of the heart. It was telling. And I think we should lean into that Gerard Pique is the heart and soul of this team with Messi gone. And I know he's a bit goofy. He talked about the selfies. He's a guy, but the fact that he was not only willing to take the pay cut, and I think some of it was good PR for him, that he took that pay cut at a time when, like, perfectly timing it, that Memphis and Eric Garcia and Emerson could be, or rather Ray Minaj could be registered. It's the way you want to draw up a narrative that it was the first match without Messi, his class of 1987 teammate. With now Messi gone, it was all about Gerard Pique saying, hey, Kool-Aid's, you're hurting, I'm hurting. And for me, it really is. We vicariously live through these players. And for Pique to say, hey, this was my friend. You think you're heartbroken, you're fan around the world. I'm heartbroken. That was my guy. That was my friend. That was a guy I've known since I was 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And, or sorry.
I was 12 or 13 or something. Yeah.
He came over from Argentina. So, I mean, that's my guy. And we're heartbroken. We didn't expect this either, but we will carry on. We will be okay. And he's not going to score every goal, but for him to get that first goal, a weight was lifted off everybody. Memphis Depay was able to make his debut quite freely. And I think it's really telling that Memphis also was the one who delivered the free kick, the guy that was registered because Pique took the pay cut. So there was some kind of narrative enjoyment I got out of it, that sometimes we have to make it bigger than the football because all the finances and everything, those are bigger than football. So sometimes the storybook part of it also has to be enjoyable. And I want to actually for a moment just relish in that emotion because we've all been sad. We've all been heartbroken, but Pique kind of gave us something to celebrate. They gave us some kind of hope. And that's really what we want to hang on to.
You said it. I mean, that was just watching that game yesterday was kind of, I mean, I was telling my wife that, yesterday's game was sort of an enjoyable kind of free flowing goals or flowing Barcelona game that I don't feel like I've seen in a while. And I think towards the end of last season, there was kind of the ill-fated push for the title that never came to fruition and this and that. But it always felt like there was some sort of, I don't know, impending issue or some sort of stressor or some sort of black cloud or, that was kind of hanging over the team. And there wasn't a lot of like unbridled fun. Now, granted, there's still there's a lot of, impending issues with the finances and this and that and whatever. There's a lot of kind of nonsense around the club. But at the same time, I feel like it's just gotten so bad that like it's all the dirty laundry is out there now. So you could almost sort of innocently enjoy just basking in this game. And that for Gerard Pique to score the first goal. And yeah, I mean, for, like you said, for Memphis, it's not crazy to say, I mean, he's the best addition to the team, from this summer. And on top of that, he's sort of the notional Messi replacement. And so it was nice that there wasn't kind of a barren patch where, he starts getting frustrated and pressing or, fans start getting annoyed and, whatever. Just right off the bat, first 20 minutes or whatever it was, he inch perfect cross and Gerard Pique, sort of future president Pique, just buries it. And it just for that moment, it just kind of felt like everything was okay. And so it was, it was good. It was all, I mean, I do watch sports more. I mean, I'm very analytical. I like the stats and everything like that. But when I watch very much just with my heart on my sleeve. And that was what needed to happen. Like that was inch perfect.
Yeah, then he goes on Twitch after the match, calls Arnau Tenas next Victor Valdez, which, making me look smart because I've said Arnau Tenas, no offense to Iñaki Peña, but I put my faith in Arnau Tenas in the future. He's a little bit undersized, but I mean, he's got that thing that you want your goalkeeper to have. I don't know what it is. It's just that extra bit of something. He's a little bit crazy, just like Victor Valdez. And then on the point of the selfies, he says, everyone asked me about the selfies. He said he was bored, but then he said the whole Instagram selfie thing is a joke. A teammate the other day told me something about engagements, and I decided to try it out. It's nothing more than that. I saw some reports about some other motive, but no, it's just a joke. And, I think it's interesting because we feel like it's like a midlife crisis that we're watching Gerard Pique go through with these selfies. But I also think he's just an incredibly silly guy. There was the locker room someday. We go back to his partnership with Puyol, that they were foils, that he and Alves are, and the pranksters were silly. And there was Puyol and there was other hard-nosed guys in there.